What's up, guys? Keyshawn Chia here, back at you with a new OT Universe. What if? I'm sorry, I can't keep this serious, but yeah, this will be episode 1 and 2, maybe 3, maybe just go all the way to the season finale of Naruto with this. What if? This will be part 1 and 2, or probably one of what if Naruto was chameleon. But it's gonna have chameleon with all the powers of you could say of the Mortal Kombat Ninja franchise, such as Reptile, Sub Zero, Rain, Smoke, Ermac. I forgot this guy name, the Earthbender Ninja guy, or Turmeri or something, Turma or something. I can't even say his name right. Scorpion, Noob Saibot, and Chameleon. Well, not Chameleon. Like I already said, Naruto's going to be Chameleon to have all their powers. But other than that, how would this happen? And how is this going to be, you could say, a mixture and stuff? Because I'm going to make this as a chaos mixture of kind of a lot of crazy what ifs together. Maybe so, maybe not. All depends. But how would Naruto be chameleon, and how would Naruto have all the abilities of the franchise, of half the Mortal Kombat franchise? Well, we're going to start with pretty much Kaguya. Now, Kaguya pretty much got sealed and stuff, and she pretty much, is smiling because she know that she made them waste half of their chakra to pretty much seal her away. So, everything happens the same. All cleanse give and goes, battles and all that crap. Now, we're going to go all the way to Naito's attack. Now, pretty much, this is where Naito's is happening. Everything pretty much happens the same, except for, you could say, Naruto. Now, this is where, when Naruto was born, Naruto gets the full Nine-Tails sealed inside of him. This kind of activated a change reaction, pretty much a change reaction that caused a big explosion. As this big explosion was not physically that caused damage to anyone, it's more like a chakra like burst. Now, this chakra burst basically caused a change reaction for people who didn't have chakra, has chakra, and people who already did have chakra just got a chakra boost. So if you think the person who wasn't dangerous before is more dangerous, Sisui. But anyways, oh, and Itachi. But anyways, other than that, this also broke the seal of Kaguya because it was already broken, and she pretty much is free now. She pretty much hits down to the ground and pretty much passes out. She's pretty much just in a coma at this state, so she's going to be in a coma for the remaining of these years, you could say. Now, after that happened, pretty much we start with, well, not a 5 year old Naruto, pretty much a baby Naruto. This is where Donzo came in, at the pretty much right time that no one didn't see, the whole fight between the Naruto's and stuff, but Donzo came first and he saw Naruto. This is where Donzo immediately takes Naruto and pretty much, takes him to the secret labs to make him, the most powerful weapon. Because why not? You know, control, power, make some crazy shit, that's Donzo. But other than that, let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Donzo ends up in the secret lab. Now, this is where he's with Orochimaru, and we're gonna say Orochimaru had pretty much got some stuff from a certain someone. But other than that, let's continue. Pretty much, uh, how can I do this? Okay, yeah, pretty much. This is where Donzo is,
Okay, I'm done.
talking to. Sorry about that, guys, but let's continue. Pretty much, this is where yeah, Donzo has Naruto in the lab, and he pretty much thinks more, you could say, crazy, as this is where he says, how about instead of having one Naruto in a Nine-Tailed Shinchuriki, how about we make multiple clones of him? Which, this is where Orochimaru looks at him and starts to say, are you crazy, my guy? Make a genetic cloning DNA and a clone of a Nine-Tailed Shinchuriki? Which, this is where Donzo says, yeah, what's wrong with that? Which, this is where Orochimaru says, I mean, all right, I could pull a couple of strings, but he pretty much, agrees to it. Now, of course, Orochimaru got, some help from a certain someone. And I'm not saying me, but you could say from another crazy person. But pretty much this is where Naruto will basically be cloned. Now, half of these clones will be like approximately females, and they won't know that they're related to each other because after knowing that you're a clone of someone, you're pretty much go crazy and want to like start world domination, like Sabarath. But other than that, this is where Naruto would be cloned and stuff, and this is where Donzo starts saying, "All right, well, since you're doing the cloning, can you give them like special, unique genetics that's making me more powerful? And I have the genetics if you can do it for me." Which this is where this is where sorry about that, guys, but my sister's in school and respect her wishes. But anyways, yeah, this is where Donzo asks for special, unique genetics inside of each and last one of them. Which this is where Orochimaru says, of course, but this is where Orochimaru kind of took some genetics from like life and stuff. So you could say like for the clones that. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. But pretty much this is where yeah, Orochimaru took some genetics by the help of certain someone, and basically kind of put the genetics and cryo different genetics inside of the clones of Naruto, or you could say like genetic clones. That's a part of Naruto. Now the first one, Reptile, will be pretty much a male. Well, yeah. Well, no, a female. Reptile will be a female. Such as name. Uh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, her name's gonna be named Reptile, just for plot, and pretty much that's gonna be the first clone of Naruto. And remind you, Naruto is still a baby, so he's getting genetics changed out of him too, to make him who he is. But pretty much, yeah, Reptile. She's pretty much got the genetics of a reptile. She won't look like a female and a half reptile, and you'd be like, "What the fuck? This is a reptile, a female reptile." That, but no, she's like she has the reptile genetics in her, but she won't like be green and like reptile. But she will have the outfit. Now for Sub Zero, um, her name is basically gonna be Sub Zero. She'll basically have the cryogenic blood in her, and she will basically have the ability to do ice and stuff. Um, Rain, water genetics. I know what you're thinking. Water genetics. How the hell is that even possible? Ain't that's like liquid? Listen, we're just gonna say part of genetics and part of plot. Water genetics and also some cells from the second Hokage because they have that. Now, smoke. Uh, he will have the Kinky Kinkai from those clans that had smoke, but also he will have his own abilities. So yeah. So Rain will basically have the second Hokage abilities. Yeah, actually, Rain will be a she. So yeah, she'll have water genetics and also second genetics from the Hokage. Tomirama. For Smoke will have the Kinkai. Actually, no, it'll just be like pure smoke matter. Also, he will basically be a male, and he can turn into he can be like a Logia person, just like Sub Zero and Rain. So they're kind of like Logia users. So you can't really like cut through them unless you have, I guess, like a powerful will thing. But yeah, you can't really cut through them. And they're Logiers. You could say Logia users because they're made out of genetics that can't be touched or killed. Anyways, well, Ice can, but whatever. For Ermac will be a he. Basically, he would just have powers of souls, have like power souls and stuff. He will also be clone of Naruto, and his name is just gonna be named Ermac. He basically just have all the abilities for Ermac and stuff, and he will be wrapped up in bandages. We're just gonna say due to genetic cloning. Well, Actually, well, he's gonna get his scars for a good reason. I just find out. I just find a good reason. Anyways, Chumari or that Earth guy, it's gonna be a male, and the name, or we're just gonna call him Chumari, Tamura, Tamura. If yeah, Tamura. If you want to be correct, Tamura. Yeah, basically our abilities, all the same abilities from one combat. So yeah, um, Scorpion, Scorpion, same name, but basically gonna have you could say Scorpion DNA because we're gonna say they have it pretty much. Yeah. Now I make him a Logia user, so not as like double fruit, but more like that. That's how I can say it, as they can't be touched because they're a certain. Now new sidebot gonna be he. Uh, well, actually gonna be her. Yeah, Ashley's gonna be her. New sidebot is gonna be her. She's gonna be the clone of Naruto, but named New Sidebot, and Chameleon is of course gonna be Naruto. Now, this is where the babies are getting all the genetics in them. They get all Uchiha genetics in them, Senju DNA, the first Hokage DNA. But Naruto, he gets every kind of DNA as uh okay. Okay, sorry about that guys. Alright, so yeah, basically this is where, a 5-year-old Naruto, well, no, not 5-year-old Naruto, but basically they get all the genetics and stuff. Everybody gets, certain genetics. Reptile gets the Senju DNA. Also, Naruto would get that Senju DNA, or you could say Chameleon would get the Senju DNA. Rain gets the second Hokage DNA. Also, Sub Zero will get pretty much the second Hokage and first Hokage DNA. We're just gonna say everybody got the same DNA, but except for like Chameleon will be the one to use all the DNAs, and Reptile will be the one to use Senju DNA. And Smoke, I guess you could say like, I mean, Tommy will use Earth DNA, I guess, like that DNA from that guy from the. You could say from the south. We're gonna say Orochimaru took like the first. I forgot his name, but he's the one with the sharp like bone things, and he's inchangeable to except guard to feed him. I forgot him, but him he will basically be a part of Tomori or him, the Earth Ninja. Uh, Pretty much everything else is like yeah, but Naruto will get all the other DNA, get all the same DNAs out of him, but he will be the strongest out of all of them. But let's continue to the story. Pretty much we got a 5-year-old Naruto. This 5-year-old Naruto and his you could say patriots or basically or you could say his clones or you could say him partners. Yeah, pretty much partners. Donzo pretty much have him and pretty much starts training them. Now he puts them in a intense training as all of them is put in the same intense training and they'd be constantly training with each other or been fighting or been training with Sai, which Sai is pretty much the higher up in you know pretty much the strongest against all of them for now because Sai is more skilled and trained. But pretty much this is where Naruto, aka as Chameleon, which Danzo calls him, his agent name or his ninja name, which Danzo says Chameleon. You should be you should be knowing how to use all the abilities at once, or one, or knows how to use the abilities. Which this 5-year-old Naruto's pretty much called Chameleon when Danzo's mad, but when Danzo's not mad, he says Naruto. Which this is where Naruto is training with with his team and with the ninjas and stuff, Ermac and stuff, and also copying the abilities, using the same abilities and stuff, and sometimes using the abilities and combos and stuff, like making an ice ball and using Ermac's souls thing to pretty much make the ice ball fall or lift someone up there to get crushed. You could say. Also, and the Nine Tails is split into all of them as you could say all the nine tails will be having different you could say variations and forms. As for the nine tails in smoke, how can I explain this? It's gonna look like a nine tails, but it's smoke. You could say like it's looking like smoke color, you could say.
if you can say it like that. But
it was a let's continue. Pretty much, after we're gonna say like about 5 years, we're gonna say this is where Naruto is, leaving the compound to pretty much see the outside world because Danzo doesn't want them out at all. Like, he doesn't want them out at all, but he, you could say they secret experiments, including Naruto. But pretty much, this is Naruto who is fighting. Yeah, pretty much fighting a couple of kids, defeat them easy, not even having a scratch on them. And this is where he sees Hinata, and this is the Naruto who is a chameleon, you could say. This is where Naruto meets up with, meets Hinata and pretty much, showed her kindness and stuff, and basically telling the, saying if they ever mess with her again, just let him know, which she falls head over heels for him. Now, this is where, of course, we're gonna say Sub Zero. Actually, no, Reptile appears, pretty much uncamouflaging herself, and yeah, her uncamouflaging herself, and pretty much saying, "Chameleon, you know we're not supposed to be out here." Which Hinata freaks out and uh sees that she just popped out of nowhere. Which pretty much Naruto tells her that he's gonna be heading back into the Anbu compound in a sec, but he has to pretty much make sure she's okay. Which she's okay, and he pretty much goes off. Now we're gonna do a time skip with a 10-year-old Naruto in his clones. Now, pretty much at this first point, Reptile, Sub Zero Rain, Smoke, Ermac, Tamari, or Earth Guy, or Tamari. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, my guys. I said it right this time. I'm going to say it right this time. Tremor. So Tremor, Scorpion, Noob Saibot, and Chameleon, or you could say Naruto, the original one. Is pretty much training, and their training is, you could say, much better. Like, their teamwork together when they're on a team all at once is deadly. Now, when it's two of them, deadly. When it's one of them, deadly. When it's three of them, you better, pray to Valhalla to take your soul before you get murked. The whole team, the Akatsuki will die. That's how powerful they are when they're together. Separate, they're still deadly. But any of that, let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Adonzo, is pretty much smiling, seeing how much progress they made after, whooping Sai ass in a one-time match. And they pretty much have they all Sharingans, active, which none of them haven't reached to Magekyo yet. Well, except for one person, but that's a later. That's a later. But pretty much, yeah, they're training and stuff. This is where Donzo sends them out on a mission. Well, you could say this is where Donzo. They think they got a mission from Donzo. Well, actually, yeah, they get a mission from Donzo. This Donzo pretty much says that they have to go to a certain temple. A certain temple, the Uzumaki Temple, which it's only allowed from the Uzumakis. Which we're gonna say this is where. How can I say this? This is where Donzo sends out Naruto. Now, Naruto is the only one who has the Uzumaki DNA. Well, he's not the only one. Like, all of them, the rest has the Uzumaki DNA since they're a clone of him. But only, like, you could say. Actually, nah, they all go there. They all go there. Donzo sends them all there. Now, Donzo made a whole long list of what they have to do before they come back, which they pretty much all agree to, and they start heading out. Now, pretty much this Naruto, they all head to the Uzumaki Temple first, and they look around, trying to see, some pertinent information or anything that's at use to Donzo, because they're under, Donzo super ween, and all they know is like he's their father figure, and he trained them up to powerful deadly assassins and stuff, or ninjas, and they just go there, look around and stuff, and they're right now checking, well, not well, yeah, checking around and stuff, and pretty much looking. This is where, of course, we're gonna say Karen is hiding behind one of the buildings of the Uzumaki Temple, and she's about to leave until Reptile stops her and says, and she pretty much appears in front of her saying, "What are you doing here?" Now,
this is where, of course, uh, Naruto pretty much appears, and also all the rest of them appears, and she's pretty much terrified and saying, "Please don't kill her" and stuff. Which this is where Naruto is confused and saying, "Who are you?" and like, "What's your name?" Which she pretty much explains her name is Karen. Karen. Yeah, she's basically a Uzumaki, and she lives here by herself and stuff. Which this is where Naruto thinks like she's the only Uzumaki, and he doesn't really want like Donzo to really have her because he's afraid that Donzo's gonna do something deadly. So this is where he says, "Okay, how about come back to Leaf Village with us?" Which I well, we're gonna say Naruto does it anyway, still takes her to Donzo, but he pretty much says, "You want to come back to Leaf with us? We will watch over you. You know, make sure you get yourself a house and stuff." Which pretty much this is where Karen says yes, and she will be joining them. Now they grab the rest of the stuff from the Uzumaki temple. That's anything that's important, and begins to start, going out doing the missions because they were supposed to go to the Uzumaki temple, grab what's important, and also go out and assassinate these targets, you could say. Now, for plot purposes, we're gonna say the Sound Seven was still alive when Naruto's 10. Oh, he's 10 years old now. I should probably tell you that, but pretty much yeah, they go out in different villages and stuff, stealthily and stuff, and they're pretty much assassinating targets that Donzo wants dead. Now, Donzo wants them to capture like some tail beast as how can I say this? Let's see. Yeah, Donzo says to try to get these two tail beasts, which they're pretty much talking about like the Chinchurikis that's I think was still alive before they got captured by the Koski. I say the two tails and the six tails. Is it six tails? Yeah, the six tails and the four tails. And the two tails. Yeah, those. He wants them to capture those tail beasts. If they cost their lives, which they want to live, but they have to do what Donzo says. Now they're going to the missionaries and stuff. They're killing high targets that they're supposed to kill. Also, they're going to now they go on a team of three as Chameleon, Noob Saibot, and Scorpion will be going after the no, the six tails, while uh Terminal, Ermac, and Smoke will be going after the the six tails, and Rain, Sub Zero, and Reptile will be going after pretty much yeah, pretty much two tails if I'm correct. No, two tails is the two tails is with Chameleon, New Sabat, Scorpion, four tails, uh no, four tails, Rain, Sub Zero, Reptile, and six tails is Smoke, Ermac, and Summary. So pretty much they're going a team of three to go after these tails and Cherokees. Now pretty much this is where Karen is joining them because like they found out that Karen can heal wounds after you know we're gonna say Smoke was a little bit careless because we're gonna say no, we're gonna say Tomori Tomoro, well, him was a little bit careless. It was like fooling around, but also serious, playing with his like targets, and the targets hit him with something spicy but not that painful, which he had to cut, and they pretty much healed him. Which Karen tells him to bite on her, and he healed from it. But pretty much she's with them now. We're gonna start with Chameleon, New Sidebot, and also Sub Zero. Now, for them capturing the two tails, it pretty much is a little bit hard because the two tails pretty much transform at the point after getting cornered by them, and she begins to use the Chinchuriki cloak, Now, of course, this is where Naruto thinks, and he begins to go camouflage, which she's thinking he's going camouflage again, which she begins to try to sense his chakra or any of his movements or anything, but she doesn't hear nothing. Naruto is just standing still and just, waiting for the right moment. This is where, new Saibot, he pretty much, used a dimensional portal, used one of his clones to, body her to the ground and start punching her face multiple times, while Scorpion pretty much, um, while Scorpion pretty much, uses a fire style fireball jutsu to shoot a massive fireball at her, pretty much leaving her down burnt. Now, this is where, of course, Naruto jumps out of camouflage and uses a freeze ray to pretty much freeze her in her place, pretty much, knocking her out. Now, this is where they extract the Two Tails Chinchuriki from the Two Tails or her. And pretty much, this is where New Saibot looks. Well, they're pretty much looking at each other, trying to see who will pretty much, have the Two Tails. Which this is where Scorpion takes over because they have a communication of fire, and plus, I guess that would work. But yeah, pretty much that's yeah. Scorpion will basically get the Two Tails from Cherokee. Actually no, um, I say new Sidebot. It would come in handy. Trust me, and I'm thinking of a good combo together with new Sidebot. But yeah, new Sidebot basically becomes the new Two Tails from Cherokee. Now they know how to enter their mindscape to talk to Two Tails from Cherokee. I mean the Cherokee and stuff. So new Sidebot pretty much takes over. Takes extracts the Two Tails and put it inside of him. But he, tells Karen to heal the Two Tails from Cherokee because she was a worthy opponent, and they was meant to, Donzo says to do whatever, but make sure to get the Two Tails and these tail beasts, which they agreed upon. So they're really not like going to kill everybody, but they could do it, which is going to happen, but not right now. Pretty much yeah. Karen let her bite her, and she does the little moan thing, but the Two Tails get healed, not losing, not dying, and pretty much they go using the portal that new Saibot made for them. Now, new Saibot, as in the portal, pretty much takes Karin and Chameleon and Scorpion back to the Leaf Village, which they pretty much going to Donzo is saying that the mission is almost complete. Now, for Tomoro, Ermac, and Smoke, pretty much for the whole Six Tails fight, um, I think the fight will go a little bit different as the Six Tails pretty much looking at them and saying, "Oh, so you here to fight me?" This is where Rain pretty much appears because we're gonna say Rain has the capabilities to like go really fast to a certain area. If it's like raining at different areas and stuff, he can pretty much we're gonna say use teleportation wherever the rain is at, and also he's kind of half water, so he can appear at whatever water will be at. This is where it's raining and stuff, and they're pretty much at the Six Tails from Cherokee, pretty much it, and it's like dark and it's like thunderstorm. So you just see like three ninjas, which this is where the Six Tails from Cherokee is saying, "Huh? So you're here to come after me? So you're after me? What do y'all want?" Which pretty much this is where Rain appears, and he pretty much says, "We're here to get you, and I'm going to be the one to capture you." Because we're gonna say Rain like was having a little bit of a she pretty much says that she's gonna be the one to capture the Six Tails. Now this is where Smoke, Ermac, and Tomro they're both pretty much speaking. They're speaking and they're pretty much saying like who told you like who said that you can come in and trying to take our stuff? Which this is where Rain she pretty much basically explains that she is going to, show them that she's strong fighting a thing by herself, which pretty much they all three of them smile and says, okay, go ahead.
which they say cyst, but not as like literally thing, but they're basically saying go ahead and prove your point. Now, just where she pretty much says that she's going to be the one to defeat them, and she basically, uh, yeah, she basically disappears. Which the six-tailed Cherokee, he's looking around saying, I think Yagato. If yeah, I think that's his name, Yagato. But pretty much, he looking around, trying to see where she's at, and he can't sense or track her until she appears right behind him, pretty much kicking him in the face, kicking him into the his legendary move, Roadhouse Kick, into the next dimension. Now he kicks him in the face, pretty much sending him flying into the next dimension, and it makes him hit the ground. Now this is where Yagato is trying to figure out what the hell just basically happened, and she pretty much disappears, reappears, uses the water kick move to shoot water at the back and launch herself forward, kicking Yagato in the face. Now Yagato begins to use his bubbles as a defense, but it doesn't really do anything because, like I said, she's half water, so she's intangible. So it's really not doing anything. It's really not doing anything, but like she's just going through the bubbles and stuff. Now, once you could say she goes through the bubbles, this is where Yagato knows that he has to go in the Chinchuriki state form. Now, this is where he goes all the way up to the Chinchuriki state form and begins to start to attack. Like I say, begins to start to attack Rain. Now, of course, she dodging the attacks and stuff, and pretty much, you know, holding herself. This is where she pretty much says it's time to end this, and she pretty much goes for another roadhouse kick, kicking, actually nailing the point and kicking um the six-tailed Chinchuriki back. Now, this is where she put both her hands both together and making that cool, you could say, finisher move that Rain does on Mortal Kombat 11, where all the ninjas, and that's what she does, and she basically sliced through, pretty much slicing through in the middle and cutting the six tail. Now the six tail pretty much is trying to heal from this until she pretty much immediately appears right in front of him, taking his six tails in Cherokee and leaving him down on the ground, pretty much coughing up in blood and pretty injured. Now this is where, of course, we're gonna say Armac give him some, uses his souls and stuff, and begins to start healing him and stuff. Now, after that whole successful mission with the six tail, pretty much Sub Zero and Reptile is pretty much fighting with the four tails right now. Now, the four tails doesn't know that Sub Zero is working with Reptile or Rain, so pretty much he's pretty much just fighting Sub Zero. Now, of course, the four tails Centurion is using his lava thing and pretty much melting how can I say this? You could say Sub Zero is pretty much freezing him. Well, she's freezing him, holding him still and stuff, and he's pretty much like kind of breaking out over and over again, kind of like lava versus ice, but ice ain't doing shit against lava, so it's kind of like a half standstill. But pretty much Sub Zero is fighting him, and he's pretty much shooting lava balls at her, which she's freezing the lava balls, disappearing, reappearing, comboing the shit out of him, comboing, you could say, the shit out of him and stuff. This is where uh Rain appears and begins to kick some, well, use her both front foots and shoot herself forward and kicks the two tails back in the face, sending him flying, which he does a backflip, which Reptile appears and pretty much does his legendary, well, she does her legendary slide, kicking him on the ground, making him slide on his face, which he's about to get up until Sub-Zero appears and pretty much stabs him in both of his arms. Pretty much he can't do anything. This is where Reptile, she says, "Took you long enough, sister," which they call themselves sisters, which pretty much this is where Rain says, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I was fighting the six tails, but guess what? I have the six tails." Which she pretty much lift up her shirt and she pretty much shows the seal is a little bit different because now she has the nine tails and the six tails, the clone of the nine tails, and the six tails in Cherokee. Now, of course, this is where, I guess Sub Zero pretty much have, well, yeah, pretty much has the six tails. I mean, yeah, has the four tails, and begins to extract the foretales. Now he doesn't. Now Rept no not Reptile Sub Zero. She doesn't really want the foretales, so she basically goes to Scorpion and gives it to Scorpion, and Scorpion pretty much accepts and becomes the foretales Shinchurki and the Nine Tails copy, which they all have nine tails, which they all communicate with their nine tails, but they have foretales now and stuff and all that. But pretty much after that, Donzo's pretty much smiling, saying this was a mission success, good, good. Now this is where Donzo is about to initiate the plan of the whole, having Itachi kill the whole Chia, the stop a war, which Sushui is about to come in. Now, this is where, of course, Donzo knows it's happening, and we're going to be at the part where Donzo is about to try to take Sushui eyes. Now, Donzo is trying to go for Sushui eyes and is trying to snatch him until Sushui immediately knows what the fuck's going on and jumps away and pretty much dodged the eye taking. Now, I know what y'all thinking. Sushui dodges it and he's not going to die? No, this is actually different. This is much different. You remember when I said Kaguya got sealed away, but she pretty much made them waste half of their chakra? Yeah, it's going to be a whole clusterfuck story. But pretty much, this is where Sisui, is running away from Donzo, which Sisui uses his Susono, and we're not going to say the half rib cage. I'll say the full Susono, and he pretty much whoops everybody ass. Now, this is where, of course, he goes to Fugaku, does put him under the Genjutsu, uh, and pretty much, save the Uchiha. Now, of course, Zanzo is about to get in trouble for this. He begins to start fleeing. Now, as he's about to grab everything, this is where Hiruzen, busting the Anbu hideout, pretty much dressed up in armor, ready to, stop Donzo, which Donzo is basically telling them to he's basically telling all his, special ninjas unit, he's saying Reptile, Sub Zero. Or he basically says Reptile, Zero, Rain, Smoke, Ermac, Terminal, Scorpion, Cybot, Chameleon, get out here. Which this is where, they're coming out. And this is where Donzo is a little bit more mad. And he says, Naruto, you are the leader of these ninjas. Now kill Hiruzen, which Hiruzen says, Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki, which Naruto says, huh? You know me? Which this is where Hiruzen says, we've been looking for you. Like he says, what can I say? He says, yeah, we've been looking for you. Which Naruto says, you looking for me? He says, yes, you went missing after the whole Nine Tails attack, and you was basically the first one, and basically Naruto is confused and saying, huh? Which this is where you could say, Ermac doesn't smell the beams yet, but pretty much Naruto is looking at like Donzo, and Donzo's pretty much saying shit, and he gets out of there. Pretty much using the rest of his Anbu members to escape, and he gets out of there. Now Hiruzen pretty much takes Naruto in, pretty much saying that he haven't really seen Naruto and how much he grown for like these couple years, and begins to looks at Naruto team he has, which this is where Naruto asks what happened to them. They're basically like, you could say family a little bit. You could say they like family. You could say, which Hiruzen says, oh, well they can basically stay in the Leaf Village. They can do whatever they want. If they want to leave, they won't have a bounty on the head or anything. But if they want to stay here, they can. Now, this is where, of course, they all agree the same, because they're not gonna leave Naruto, and they lead her by himself, and they begins to all smile, all going in there. Now, this is where, of course, they get their own house by Hiruzen, and no one doesn't know Naruto is the Nine Tails from Cherokee because Donzo didn't have a reason to say it, and plus Donzo was already raising Naruto by himself, so yeah, you could say he didn't have a reason to do that. But anyways, this is where Naruto says okay, and they begin to live in their own house together. You could say they own clan house because we're gonna say they asked for a clan house, like an empty clan house, and the Uchiha already got brought into the compound. So Naruto took over the Uchiha's compound place and just did whatever. Or you could say he changed the sign into like all the multiple symbols they have, what DNA they have. So like they switched it into Senju to Uchiha logo, up to Hyuga Uzumaki. Yeah, they changed it to all those logos. Now, after they changed it all to logos, Karen was pretty much, or Karen, she was basically, brought in there too because they asked her if she wanted to stay with them in the clan compound, and she pretty much agrees. Now, this is where as they're in their clan, they realize that, you know, Hiruzen says they can go to the academy and participate, and they begins to, all, I guess, get ready. This is where Hinata Hyuga, she's pretty much, a little bit bruised up and injured. And Naruto looks at her coming in and waving, which Naruto runs in and says, "What's wrong with her?" This is where she explains that she pretty much got, um, pretty much, you know, bullied, and she been also getting beat up by her brother because her brother doesn't like her. A little bit more worse in the canon, you could say. Which Naruto pretty much says that she could stay here if she wants, which she smiles and agrees to stay here. Now, this is where we're gonna get to the Team Seven arc, and pretty much this is where Naruto is coming in the classroom, and he looks much different now. What did he looks like? He pretty much has a hair color with all different color, as green, blue, purple, uh, dark green, a little bit darkish crimson red, uh, a little bit of smoke color, um, a little bit of the turmeric scorpion color, and a little bit new side by, and a little bit of green chameleon, or you could say just like green. Now, this is where all the kids are looking at Naruto the most, but they look at Naruto's people who sits beside him and stuff. And Sasuke, he gets a question wide eyebrow because he kind of like doesn't know why. Like he does, like he sense a strong like blood loss potential off of him. Like he can sense strong power from him. That's how I can say. Uh, Sasuke would be the same in canon because Itachi he didn't kill the clan, but he went rogue, and that we're gonna say that kind of triggers Sasuke to kill Itachi because we're gonna say Itachi put Sasuke in their genjutsu, so Sasuke doesn't join them in the Akatsuki and make a reason to hate him. So Sasuke is like a little the same in canon, but not into kill Itachi, but really to kick his ass and bring him back to the Leaf Village. Now, how can I say this? Now we're pretty much at the team seven. I forgot. Pretty much Um, they're pretty much waiting and stuff, and this is where the teacher comes in and pretty much taps down on paper. Says, "Okay, so things is gonna be a little bit different due to since the extra people. Team Seven will actually have Team Seven will actually have Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto and the rest of the ninjas, which it's gonna be named like you could say Team Seven, but it's just gonna have Naruto and the rest of the ninjas because why not? And plus for plot. Now, of course, now after that, pretty much Naruto is waiting. They're pretty much waiting for the teacher, Sasuke. He's pretty much like I said, a little bit the same, but not as the down picture hatred. But his goal is a little bit more same as to not kill Itachi, but to bring Itachi back to Sand Village. I mean, to the Leaf Village to pay for his crimes. You know what he did or why he left. And also, you could say to lift up the bounty off Itachi's head because Itachi has a big ass bounty on his head. But anyways, let's continue. How can I say this? Jeez, how can I say this? Yeah, okay, yeah. Team Seven. Now, basically, they're all waiting. They're all waiting and stuff, and yeah, Naruto's pretty much chilling and stuff, and talking to Sakura, getting to know Sakura and stuff. Well, no, not Naruto. We're gonna say Rain. Yeah, Rain. Is it or Terminal? Nah, we're gonna say Terminal because the top three are females. Top two in the actually only Ermac. Well, only Smoke. Yeah, Reptile, Sub Zero, Rain, Smoke are females. Ermac. Oh, and Scorpion. I guess we can make Scorpion as female. So Reptile, Zero, Sub Zero, Rain, Smoke, and Scorpion are females, while Terminal, Ermac, New Cybot, and Chameleon are males. So yeah, that's gonna be like the kind of thing. But pretty much this is where we're gonna say Terminal is getting to know Soccer, trying to, make his moves and stuff. Trying to know Soccer and stuff, which Soccer is saying, oh, you're going to see, she's blushing and stuff, which this is where she asks what's his name, which he pretty much says his name is Terminal. Well, that's what we think his name is, because, he was regularly birthed. Which pretty much she says, oh, okay, and they continue the conversation. Um Reptile, she's pretty much, going to camouflage. Going to camouflage, pretty much, making herself non-existent. Pretty much, playing around with Sub Zero. While Sub Zero, she's pretty much, blindfolded, shooting a little bit, ice bullets. You could say shooting a little bit ice bullets at Reptile, trying to find her location. While Rain, she's pretty much, doing whatever. Smoke, really just joining in with Sub Zero to mess around. With Reptile, Ermac, he doesn't really do nothing. But I guess read or meditate. Meditate, going back in his mindscape. Yeah. New side. Scorpion is really in his mindscape, talking to the Foretells, meditating. Cybot, he's really meditating. Oh, yeah, Scorpion. She's meditating to talk to the Foretells. New Cybot, he's in his mindscape, talking to the Two Tails. Who do I give the Six Tails to? Oh yeah, Rain. Yeah, Rain. Yeah, she's doing the same thing. And also Naruto, he's pretty much just minding his damn business, not doing anything. Really, just messing with his fingertips, making a little bit elements all combined, and he's thinking of like, can he add elements to the Rasengan? Because actually, no. To he if he can like make other elements of clones, because we're gonna say he learns the Mochi Shankun Jutsu at the Miski art, which we're gonna say that Miski art does happen, but it just happens a little bit different as Miski just gets murdered by the nine ninjas. So yeah, seven swordsmen, nine ninjas, nine combat ninjas. Okay, but yeah, pretty much. Um, this is where Miski dies, and they pretty much takes the scroll from themselves. So Hiruzen never got the scroll back, and Hiruzen never tracked down Naruto. So yeah, Naruto has a scroll, and they all read from it and stuff. But anyways, let's continue. Pretty much just where Kakashi comes in late as usual, and Sasuke looks at Itachi with anger because he came late. But this is where how can I say this? How can I say this? I'm so sorry, guys. This is why it's going to be an hour long because it's a lot of thinking in this. I thought a lot of stuff in this, and I don't like. I'm trying to think of which parts I should put in together to make it go crazy. But let's continue. Pretty much, yeah. This is where Kakashi looks at his team, and he sees, well, a crazy team. He sees a like an earthbender person, pretty much floating around elements around him. Well, nah, you could say he's floating around talking to Sakura, making his move, which Kakashi's like saying, huh. He pretty much sees Sasuke looking at Naruto, and Naruto's pretty much, looking at him, staring each other both down, having a simple rivalry with mind cabelling for Ermac. He pretty much just sees Ermac just not doing anything but just meditating or just reading a book while floating. Um, Smoke, she's not doing anything but really just, like I said, playing around with Reptile and Sub Zero and Rain while they're trying to shoot at Reptile, which Reptile, she's still invisible, which Kakashi can hear someone, but he doesn't know where she's at. Scorpion, she's meditating. Uh, oh yeah, Rain is also doing that too, and Cybot is doing the same thing, which Naruto is not really meditating, but like I said, staring down Sasuke. This is where Kakashi says, "Interesting team," and he tells everybody to meet up on the rooftop. Now, pretty much on the moon, not on the moon, pretty much on the rooftop, you know, everybody like Sakura is the same. Sasuke is a little bit different as he wants to capture someone to bring to justice, which he's talking about Itachi, which Kakashi knows, and but also this is where Kakashi goes to the rest of the team, which all of them are a little bit different. Reptile, as for Reptile, hers is a little bit different as she wants to make the proud clan that they made. I'll say the Ultimate Clan. You could say the Ultimate Clan. Uh, I gotta say the Ultimate Clan. Yeah, we just call it the Ultimate Clan because it has they have all the DNA. So the Ultimate Clan, which Reptile is basically explaining that she wants to be the most strongest Kanoshi or strongest ninja out of all of them. She's gonna be the strongest ninja out of them. Which Sub Zero mostly her goal is to basically make a clan inside the clan of the Ultimate Clan, the Ryu, or you could say that the Ice Clan that Naruto had. I mean, no, not Naruto. Sub Zero had. Rain, hers. She wants to be a princess of her own, or she wants to be the princess of in the clan. But for that to happen, she has to become strong, a strong ninja. Uh, Smoke. Hers is really just the same to just to serve Sub Zero and to protect her sister, or all her sisters. Ermac. Hers is really questionable because she really doesn't say anything and she just looks away, which Kakashi just says, okay, you don't have to really say anything. Terminal, she really, hers is different as she wants to, you could say, find you could say, lightest jutsu, as she's talking about the light bubble and stuff, like how that Rakage Earth guy who was floating around. She wants to learn all the secrets of the, Earth stuff and what she can basically do and what she can bend and not bend. Uh, Terminal. Oh yeah, he wants to basically bend and not bend and trying to figure out what he can do, what things he can use and stuff to make. So yeah, he wants to basically become like the greatest Earthbender all around. You could say. Uh, Scorpion, hers, same like Sub Zero's. She basically just want to make a clan inside the Ultimate Clan that they made at the Uchiha compound. Well, they changed it into the Ultimate Clan. New Cybot, her basically just to make an army, a strong, powerful army like her, but also can protect the Ultimate Clan. And also Naruto's is a little bit different as he says what his likes is to eat Ichiran ramen with his family, or you could say with his friends. What he calls them family, with his family. Uh, Also the train, to see new stuff because now he's free to see new stuff around the village and also see other clans, and he wants to become Hokage. Believe it, but his brothers and sisters, they get shocked because he regularly don't say his dreams out loud, and when he does say it, he regularly say it to them. So saying his secrets, his one of his secrets is, quite surprised. Which Kakashi smiles. Now, Kakashi says the same thing, and he basically tells them to all meet out tomorrow for the bell test. So he says don't eat or you're gonna puke, which they all agree, and they basically go. Now, this is where we're at the bell test, and Kakashi pretty much has two bells. Well, no, he actually ups it up a notch since there's a lot of team members. So he basically gets one bell. Now he basically explains the bell test and that one, well, multiple of them will be getting sent back, while two will be in the team. Now this is where Kakashi says, "Are you mark, get set, go?" And everybody's pretty much scattering everywhere. Now this is where, of course, Naruto and his clones of him, they all begins to rattle together and begins to say, all right, so what's the plan? Because there's no way this spell test requires only one person to be on a team with him, which they all agree and says yeah. So what should we do? Which this is where Naruto, or AK as you know Chameleon, begins to say, oh, I know what we should do. Which this is where hold on, give me a minute. Yeah, this is where Naruto explains that, well, we're gonna get that belt by force and use teamwork to show him that if he's gonna fail us, we might as well use the teamwork, before we all have to go back. Which, you know, this is where they all agree, and this is where Reptile, she explains and starts to say, okay, so what about Sasuke and Sakura? Which Reptile, she makes a smile and looks at Tormo, which Tormo tells her to shut up while he's blushing and looking away. This is where you could say, well, yeah, this is where you can say Reptile. Naruto says, okay, this is okay. We have them just in case as the last backup. Which this is where he tells Reptile to basically tell them the plan, which she agrees and goes out. Now, this is where Naruto reappears himself. Well, yeah, this is where he reappears himself, and he's gonna have all chakra natures because why not? This is where Naruto appears and stuff, and he begins to says he's gonna be the one to pretty much be a good fighter and keep him on his ass. Which Kakashi says, "Huh, go ahead, kid." This is where Naruto does creates a second clone, and well, he creates four clones, and they all, and I'm gonna say Naruto has that outfit that Chameleon has, but he wears a headband. He wears a headband, but his clothes can change. They're changing colors. Like they change to black, red. It's kind of like that game from Armageddon. How Chameleon just be transforming clothes. Yeah, like how his clothes are transforming into each color. It's like that, but he won't have invisible skin. So don't worry about that. But pretty much Naruto, he pretty much creates four different clones, which Kakashi is saying, "Oh, so you're gonna fight me with clones? Okay." This is where Naruto makes a smile underneath the mask, and he begins to do each different hand sides, signals at Kakashi, which Kakashi is basically saying, what's he doing? Which this is where Naruto activate the Sharingan, and the Sharingan will look green, will have green color to it. Will basically be green Sharinganized. It will have different abilities. But basically, this is where Naruto activate the three Tomoe Sharingan, and Kakashi says he has a Sharingan. Which this is where Naruto says Fire Style, Earth Style, Wind Style. Yeah, Fire Style, Earth Style, Wind Style, Lightning Style, and so yeah, Fire Style, Earth Style, Wind Style, Lightning Style, Water Style, and I would say Ice Style. Nah, just those.
So he would just use those five elements. And he basically says dragon. He would basically say like all the elements at the skin. Like he would say water style, earth style, and he would say all the styles. And he says, dragon jutsu, and all dragons will be going right at Kakashi. Now, of course, Kakashi would dodge all of them, subjutsu out of there. But this is where Kakashi says he has a Sharingan. How he has a Sharingan, which this is where he's backing away, and pretty much this is where Rain she appears out of the water while Kakashi ended up at the water, and her eyes is pretty much having purple Sharingan, which she pretty much formed her hands down, and she does the lightning style, purple lightning jutsu. Well, lightning, purple lightning blade, you could say, or purple lightning, kill. Well, we're just gonna call it purple lightning. That's it, purple lightning style, lightning like Shidori. Yeah, lightning Shidori. Actually, no, purple lightning blade, you could say. So we can just have it like that. Actually, no, this is Shidori, purple Shidori. We'll just do it like that. Sorry, guys, but pretty much, this is where she put down her hands. She says purple lightning style, purple Shidori jutsu, and charges at Kakashi. Now, of course, Kakashi is shocked and saying, "Purple? What? That's a technique that I was that was like trying to perfect, which he doesn't know how she, has that, which she been developing on her, herself. Now, this is where she's charging at Kakashi, and Kakashi, you know, dodges the attack and grabs her arm, sending her flying, sends her, pretty much just grabs her and subdues her, which this is where she's looking at him with the three Tomoe Sharingan, which he's pretty much saying, three Tomoe Sharingan? How does she have a Sharingan? Are they all Chia's? Which, this is where he's thinking. This is where sorry. This is where Ermac comes in. Actually, no, not Ermac. This is where Sub Zero she comes in. Pretty much, about to form an ice beam to shoot Kakashi until he uses Rain as a, as a distract, or you could say as a, target. Which basically Sub Zero instantly like smiles and shoots at Rain, which Rain smiles back and pretty much, gets hit with the ice with Kakashi. Now Kakashi is stuck in the ice with Rain, but Rain doesn't is not stuck. She pretty much, absorbed and become the ice. You could say she became the ice and she basically reappeared herself. Which pretty much Kakashi says, "What? How did she do that?" Which this is where Scorpion comes in and he's pretty much, doing the hand seals and he's saying fire style, fire giant jutsu. He pretty much shoots a giant massive fireball at Kakashi, which Kakashi can't get out of the ice. Now he pretty much of course gets hit by it and he starts getting serious and says, "Okay, I think it's time to get serious." And he pretty much lifts up his eye showing the Sharingan, which this is where you could say Naruto's not impressed and not terrified. None of them are terrified. So this is where um of course, Tomura comes in and grabs Kakashi with Earth style, Earth grab jutsu. I pretty much just grabbing Kakashi. Now, he's draining Kakashi's chakra, which Kakashi knows that he's doing it because he feels his chakra getting drained. This is where Kakashi uses a distraction and does some hand seals under his hand and pretty much creates a clone, which the clone shoots a fireball at Tomura, which Tomura has to back away and let go. Now, this is where, of course, Ermac comes in and he grabs Kakashi and slamming him left and right, just like Mortal Kombat, and slamming him left and right. Which this is where Kakashi finally gets his sense together and forms a hand seal and shoots another fireball. Well, we're gonna say his clone shoots a fireball at Ermac, but Kakashi is already injured and stuff. This is where Smoke comes in, pretty much throwing down smoke, blinding Kakashi, and pretty much teleporting left to right with Noob Sidebot, and they're comboing together. Like one is doing kunais at Kakashi while the other one is basically yeah. This is where Noob and Smoke is like comboing together. Using the combos together, whooping the shit out of Kakashi, like throwing kunais and stuff. And now at the end of the combo, this is where imagine the combo between Itachi and Shisui. It's like that fighting scene, But like Smoke is like appearing left and right, kicking Kakashi, slashing him and stuff, which Kakashi can't do anything about it. And Smoke, he's basically, no, new Cybot is basically, is sending out his clone to pretty much combo together with Smoke. Now this is where Kakashi, pretty much gets the triple combo of Smoke and Cybot pretty much sliding in with the fist punch, sending him flying to the ground and sliding on the ground. This is where Kakashi is getting back up, and he's like saying, "I have to." Which this is where well, not Scorpion, Naruto comes in, pretty much uncamouflaging himself with Reptile, and they do axe kick, pretty much down on Kakashi's head, pretty much knocking his ass down. Now this is where Kakashi is waking back up at the tree, pretty much hurt, and they have the bell saying, "Did we pass?" Which Kakashi, smiles and says, "Yeah, they passed," but they remember have to use, everybody. You have to have everybody's help to have a good team, which they Naruto agrees upon, and the rest of them agrees upon. But they know soccer is useless. They know soccer is useless, but they know Sasuke has potential. Now, this is where Naruto. How can I say this? This is where Naruto is, got passed, and all the rest of them got passed. This is where Kakashi starts sending. Like I say, this is where Kakashi starts, starting up missions, and they're all doing missions and stuff. Low rank missions and stuff. This is where Reptile, she immediately has enough of this, and Sasuke and them, and we're gonna say Sakura because she wants Sasuke dick, and Terminal, like all of them gets beneath of this shit. Like they don't like it. Like they don't like these little missions. They do SS missions, and Reptile he says it like these are SS missions. Like these are low missions, the lowest of the lowest. We used to do SS missions. Now this is where I guess this is where the part like Terminal and all of them get up on Kakashi and says that these missions are beneath them. They do high like back when they was in the Ambu, they did like SS missions and stuff. Like the highest of the highest missions, you could say. Now, of course, this is where how can I say this? This is where Kakashi, agrees and asks Hiruzen for a higher mission. Now, Hiruzen is reluctantly tiny bit saying no until Naruto says that they did like the most deadliest missions before. Which this is where Hiruzen says, "All right, I'm trying to find a B mission for you because these S missions, my guy, it ain't happening, my chief. I don't want to like send you and watch you die because Hiruzen feels guilty of not fighting Naruto those years. So yeah, and he wants to try to make a bond with Naruto, and Naruto's, you could say, tiny bit lookalikes. Like they kind of all have the whiskers on their nose, but Hiruzen doesn't know they clones. But anyways, let's continue. Pretty much, this is where he gives them a B mission to protect Tazuna because we're gonna say Tazuna didn't lie this time, and he actually, well, you could say he didn't have. Well, he had a tiny bit enough money, so we're just gonna give him that. Now, this is where Thompson is, looking in and looking at the whole team, and he pretty much looks at the team, and he pretty much is, a little bit drunk, but he sees and he says, "This is the team going to protect me. These kids," which, Naruto, he know. Well, Reptile, she was like invisible, but she appears again and says, "Oh, you think we can't protect you?" Which, this is where Tanza says, "Oh my god," or he says, "Holy shit, where did you come from?" Which Naruto's laughing, saying, "Don't worry about my sister. Anyways, we'll be capable to protect you and kill anyone who comes to try to kill you." Which pretty much this is where Tarzan smiles and says, "All right, if you say so." Now this is where Naruto and them are pretty much getting ready and stuff. Now this is where they all like pretty much taking out their weapons that they have, or pretty much weapons that they got from the missions they did.
the SS missions. One of those SS missions was to take the legendary swords 7, like the legendary swordsman weapons. So like all of them have their weapons. Like some has their own weapons. Like for Reptile, he not he she pretty much got the seven swordsman weapons. Had one of got one of their weapons. One of those weapons was the electric, the two electric blades that the female has. Sub Zero, she has, what does she has? I guess she will have the explosion. Could that be explosion? No, she will have the yeah, she will have the hammer and the axe one. That one. For Rain, she basically has the explosion paper bomb one, because I'm going to say Donzo told them to take the weapons as their birthday gift. If they want a birthday gift, this is the mission for them to take whatever they want, which they accepted because they want to have a birthday gift and they want to have their own weapons. So yeah, they took the weapons from them. But anyways, let's continue. Pretty much, yeah. Rain has a paper explosion one because I think that would be also cool to see some combinations with that. Smoke, Smoke's really is I guess you can say Smoke's blade is like seven swordsman has seven weapons. Uh, Hold on, I gotta pause it real quick. All right, sorry guys, had to do my research, quick research, but yeah, I'm going to make some ranges. So Reptile will have one of the legendary says seven swordsmen for the weapons, and it's only like all the weapons was there except for the executioner blade that was taken from Zabuza. We're gonna say before Kisame what rogue or ever took the blade from the hidden mist, Naruto and Namari went in there and took the shit. So except for the executioner blade that was already gone, so they don't have that and they're still looking for it. Like they never could find it, but Donzo said it's okay. Y'all got what y'all want. Those are for y'all gifts. It was really not for win or loss. So if y'all got something, y'all got something. If y'all didn't, y'all didn't. But Donzo basically had the seven legendary swordsman weapons, and Naruto and them has half of the weapons. Well, one of the like all the weapons except for the Zabuza's blade. But Reptile will basically have the lightning one. Yeah, Reptile will have the lightning one. The two Kisama lightning ones. Uh, Actually no. Reptile will have Kisame blade. The living blade that to steal chakra and stuff. If it hits you or anything. Sub Zero will have hmm Sub Zero will have yeah. How can I say this? How can I say this? Okay, yeah. So Sub Zero basically will get, I guess, yeah. Sub Zero will get the lightning one. Mm, yeah, the lightning one. Yeah, Sub Zero will get the lightning two blades, lightning one. She will get those. Rain will basically get the. It wasn't really a lot of blades in the Seven Swordsman. It was people who already had blades. Rain, she won't really get anything from the Seven Swordsman because she already invented her own weapon, and it's gonna be the weapon from Mortal Kombat. Smoke, Smoke will get the string, that swordsman weapon, the string one, where you can, it's like a string attached to it at the end. Yeah. Uh, Ermac really doesn't get a weapon from the Seven Swordsmen. It's not really necessary. Oh wait, no. Rain would use the. Yeah, no. Sorry, guys. No. Yeah, Smoke will have the string and the sword one. While Rain will have basically the paper explosion one sword. Ermac, really nothing.
really nothing because Ermac really doesn't need a weapon. So Ermac doesn't really get nothing from the legendary Seven Swordsman. But Terminal, he get the axe and the hammer one, the split earth one weapon. Scorpion really doesn't really get anything. Yeah, doesn't really get anything. He made his own blades. Well, sorry, not he. She made her own blades. Um, Cybat, uh, I yeah, sorry. Cybot will basically just have the twin bladed weapon. So yeah, Cybot can create whatever weapons he want, including a hook with the twin bladed. So yeah, and Naruto, he doesn't have his own weapon. Well, he has his father weapon because he wants to, get to know more about his father. Well, that Hiruzen never told him about, but he took the Flying Raijin weapon because he just felt like it was right to have it in his belonging. But yeah, those are all the people who has like seven swordsman weapons and have their own weapons. So yeah, pretty much they getting weapons and stuff. And Kakashi looks and he says, "Those are seven swordsman weapons. How you have those weapons?" Which pretty much they explains to Kakashi that after they was under like Donzo, he sent them off to like the hidden mist to take all the take weapons that they have, which those are all the weapons they could take because the hidden mist, they have the army, but they're not that good. But anyways, pretty much after Kakashi got his conclusion, they're pretty much just heading off and stuff, and they're all ready. This is where I guess Rain, she can sense demon brothers in the water. And she knows that it's not water because water is different, and it haven't rained since she can just feel it. This is where how can I say this? This is where Rain says that there's two people in the water, under this water, which this is where Naruto looks at Saibot and Smoke and says, "Yeah, do it." Which this is where the Demon Brothers jumps out, but before they jump out, they end up in a smoke cloud, which they don't know what the hell is this, but they realize this is where one of the Demon Brothers tells the other brother to not to move until he took a step, and he pretty much got wrapped up with the strings or the wires, and the wires is pretty much at both of their necks. Now they're pretty much tied up and stuff, and Naruto, uses his three Tomoe Sharingan, pretty much put them in the Genjutsu and tell them like what else is about to happen until Demon Brothers spilled the beans, and Naruto pretty much kills him. Like he's not gonna let them live. They're probably gonna come back, so he kills them. Well, he initiates the order to kill them, which you know, uh, Smoke and Cybot pretty much kills them. Now, of course, this is where Sasuke and Sakura is shocked that they pretty much didn't hesitate to kill them and just executed them. Which Naruto says that they've been trained by the most professional of the best of with killing. With this is where Kakashi realized that they're talking about Donzo and how Donzo put them up to this fearless training of killing, not showing self remorse when they're doing a mission and all this stuff. Like they're totally different on the battlefield. When they're not on the battlefield, they're friendly, fooling around and nonchalant. But when they're on the battlefield, they mean business. They're gonna kill you. They're not gonna hesitate. They're not gonna try to talk you out of it. I mean, they try, but if you ain't listening, they're gonna kill you. But this is like they're starting, so they're gonna kill. You could say they're gonna kill until you could say. But other than that, let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Kakashi's looking down, thinking like they're extremely powerful. Just to think, imagine if they wanted to start their own civil war and own the Leaf Village, they can if they wanted to. Which Kakashi is thinking about that, but this is where Naruto, Smoke pretty much sees a whole frog system, which he, since that this is getting used by Chakra, which he says someone using this as a distraction. This is where Zabuza throws his blade in. Everybody's is ducking. Everybody's ducking and dodging out the way and stuff until Zabuza appear on the blade, which this is where
Naruto noticed that it's the executioner blade. It says those are one of the blades that we were supposed to get from the hidden mist. Which Zabuza says, "Oh, you know about this blade?" Which he explains himself and says there's no name and stuff. Which only Sasuke, Kakashi, well, only Sasuke, Zabuza, no, Tazuna, and Sakura is shocked, and Kakashi, but the rest is not. They're really not shocked because you could say they bitch made the hidden miss, like before the hidden miss, was actually the shit. Like we're gonna say like when it was like eight, 8 years old, like they was at Itachi level. You could say like Naruto and his clones, or his clones that was made by him, like they was pretty much bitch mating the mist and stuff, and pretty much clowning them. Like they went in there to take the stuff, but they was also clowning the whole village. Like they was just bitch mating them, you could say. But yeah, after that happened, Zabuza heard about some ninjas going into hidden mist and pretty much fucking everything up. Which he pretty much looks and he says, "So was y'all the ones who took all the weapons of the hidden mist of the legendary Seven Swordsmen, and y'all have them now?" Which pretty much they show out the weapons and they said, "Yes, of course. This is the these are all the weapons of the legendary sword." This is where Zabuza gets pissed off and says, "You don't have no right to pretty much wield those blades." Which this is where you could say reptile. How can I say reptile? No. Well, no, yeah, reptile. She pretty much says that she's gonna have a go at him, and she pretty much pulls out the two electric blades. Should yeah, she's gonna yeah, reptile's gonna have it. Yeah, she pulls out the two electric blades of the legendary swordsman. Which this is where Rain says no. She wants to have a piece of him. Which this is where Sub Zero, she says no. She's going to be the one to ice him and turn him into a frozen ice age. Which this is where Smoke, she's arguing, pretty much saying no, she's gonna be the one to defeat him. Which this is where Zabuza says he's gonna care, he's gonna kill all of them. And this is where he does the hand seal to do the water dragon, which Naruto pretty much counter back with the water dragon. And Zabuza saying, "What water dragon? How do you know that?" Which this is where Naruto says, I learned from the best," which he's talking about, how the All combat has each different ranks and stuff, and you could say they're the top of the rank of the Amu. We're gonna say the like the Amu system had ranks, like rank system and stuff, and Naruto and his clones was up top. Like they was the SS class ninjas of like if something had to get rid, like if you wanted to get rid of something or wanted someone dead or like a whole village to be a ghost age, like that's Naruto team will be that. Basically be that, you could say, with all the way to reptile to chameleon, you could say they was the executioners, the jury, judge, and execution. That's what they are. But pretty much, yeah, this is where Zabuza does the water dragon. Naruto does the water dragon, pretty much counter his. Which this is where Zabuza say, "Wait, what?" Now this is where, of course, Smoke peers right behind Zabuza, kicks him right in the back, sending him flying forward. Which this is where Noob Saibot disappears in a portal, reappear, uppercuts Zabuza, giving him the uppercut, those good ass mitts with the combo. Now, of course, this is where Sub Zero freezes Zabuza in midair, holding him still, which Zabuza is, frozen. This is where, of course, Rain comes in, using the explosion paper thing to smack Zabuza down to the ground, creating a massive explosion, burning him halfway, which Zabuza has to back up. And pretty much, he's getting pissed off and saying he's going to finish this until Tomoro, he comes in, pretty much holding Zabuza both his legs, pretty much draining half his chakra because he has that. Which this is where Ermac comes in, flying in, pretty much bodying Zabuza, pretty much using his telekinesis, you could say, well, soul telekinesis, and grabs Zabuza and slamming him to trigger left and right. This is where Scorpion comes in, and of course use the chain move to tell him to get the fuck over here. She basically grabs him and says, "Get the fuck over here," which pretty much he gets pulled to her. And she pretty much uppercuts him, which you hear the yippee, well, that noise. And pretty much this is where uh Naruto, he is about to finish it off and use the water dragon to pretty much hit Zabuza. Now, as the finishing blow is about to happen and Zabuza's about to get hit with Water Dragon, which he does, he's basically trying to get up until Haku, comes in with the clutch, shoots Simba needles at his neck, pretty much ending his misery, you could say, and takes him away, saying that she's a secret member, which Naruto knows that it's not true, and the rest of his clones knows it's not true too. Now, of course, this is where you could say they're all heading to Tazuna House, and Naruto and his clones already knows how to tree walk and water walk because, like I said, Danzo trained them up to becoming living killing machine of not really giving a fuck and getting the mission done no matter the cost. So yeah, pretty much this is where Naruto really doesn't have a struggle, and Naruto says he already knows this, and the rest of them says they know this too. So they basically all go do their own thing and stuff, regularly just playing around or taking their time or just eating or doing whatever. Sasuke pretty much goes to Naruto and asks him to train him for a bit, which Naruto, realistically smiles and agrees and says, "Yeah, sure," because Naruto other dream is to make some good friends and stuff, and he starts to train Sasuke for a bit. Now, after training Sasuke for a bit, he basically says that he's gonna go take a rest, and he basically goes in camouflage with Sasuke. Says, "Whoa, how you did that?" And Naruto appears somewhere else. Now, this is where Naruto's chilling at the tree, and everything happens as usual at the same as canon. As Haku, she pretty much, you know, appears to Naruto, talks to him and stuff. And, Naruto's he doing the little blush thing and stuff, trying to make his move on Haku, which Haku's a female is this. Haku's a little bit blushing and stuff and all that. This is where Haku says, goodbye and stuff, which Naruto tells Haku to tell Zabuza that he hopes he's feeling better, which Haku, looks in shock and says, "How do you know?" Which Naruto says that he can smell the same blood that's on her that is connected to him because, like I said, he has all the DNA. He's a chameleon. But pretty much, Haku says, asking Naruto, to not come on the bridge, which he still does. Now, this is where we're at the bridge part, and everything happens as usual. Canon Naruto comes late, but Haku is really having a hard time to, use her ice mirrors because pretty much once the ice mirrors was activated and Sasuke was trapped in there, pretty much what Scorpion did, she pretty much just melt all the ice and she just heating the whole field with the whole lava thing. So really, Haku can't activate any ice mirrors. And also, if Haku was trying to dodge attacks and stuff, Reptile would just go invisible, re-show herself, beat the shit out of Haku, and also Rain would just make it rain, and just she's making it rain, but the water, but no one has no control of the water. Only she has control of the rain and the water that's around her. So no one can't really activate no water jutsus but her and her team members. That she allows it. Now I know what you're thinking. That's pretty broken. Well, it gets even more broken. Now, after Haku is getting pretty much bodied by Reptile, Sub Zero, and Rain. Smoke, Smoke is pretty much she's at the background. Well, she's pretty much helping out Kakashi fight Zabuza, and actually no, Smoke, Ermac, and Turmo, they're pretty much working together to. Well, no, Smoke and New Saibot is pretty much working together to fight Zabuza, which they're pretty much whooping his ass. Turmo pretty much is just making a whole round like Earth bubble, which the Earth bubble. Sorry, no, which the Earth bubble is pretty much is like this, the defend, and no one can really destroy it unless he wants them to. So yeah, so pretty much the Earth bubble is pretty much around soccer and Tasna because yeah, and he's pretty much just sitting there meditating, watching his brothers and sisters fight. Scorpion, yeah, fighting with Haku. Saibot fighting with Haku, and actually no, Saibot and Smoke is fighting with Zabuza while Ermac, yeah, is just chilling with Terminal to protect Taza and Sakura. Scorpion really fighting Haku, Reptile, Sub Zero. They're also fighting, and Rain is fighting. I say with Zabuza too. Yeah, and Naruto basically helping out Sasuke, pretty much healing up his wound because he's like I said, have all DNA, and he also did some chakra training because he's like the healer on the team. And I mean, Ermac is a healer too, but Naruto is the more better healer. So Naruto is healing Sasuke wounds after getting hit by all those sunbow needles, and Naruto saying that was a little bit careless of you running this straight at her, which Sasuke says, "Yeah, I know." Which he's smiling, and Naruto's smiling too. And this is where Haku, is pretty much at her last tips of chakra, which Reptile, Sub Zero, and Rain, they're hardly having a losing a breath or inch or anything. So they pretty much have her on the ropes. Now, after you could say that is happening, um, pretty much this is where we're gonna say Kakashi says screw it and he's gonna end this right now. And he charged up a lightning blade, charging straight for Zabuza, Reptile, which Reptile, Sub Zero, Rain, they're all looking at Kakashi running at Zabuza to going for the kill. This is where Haku jumps in, ready to take the blunt force and say, "I will happily die for him." Until Naruto comes in and he takes the blunt force and gets hit by it. Now, as he get hit by it, this is where he's coughing up blood, which Kakashi realized that he just killed. Well, he thinks he killed Naruto, which this is where Rain this is where Reptile laughs and says, "You're an idiot, brother. How come you couldn't just like blocked his attack or like took his or basically took his arm and moved it away or moved it an inch away? Why you took the front force?" Which Naruto takes Kakashi arm out and begins to start healing very quickly, like rapid regeneration, real quick. He's like saying, "Because I wanted to see if I had that good generation." It's just where Haku is shocked and she says, "Why did you do it?" Which this is where, of course, the that guy in the henchman comes in, and Naruto, Naruto pretty much the smash of them, like sub Reptile and all the way down to Chameleon, the whole team just wrecked their ass. So it's been named out the Great Team or the Great Ninjas or the Great Ten. The bridge been named out the Great Ten because the 10 ninjas work together to defeat them. But this is where Zabuza, is basically saying that, you know, he's pretty much done fighting. He's going to try to live a life of peace and stuff and all that. Which he pretty much throws Naruto the Executioner Blade, which Naruto says, "What is this?" Which this is where Zabuza smile. It says, "Well, this is for you, the great Executioner Blade. I think I deserved it, and maybe I can be the new, legendary swordsman, 7." Which this is where Naruto says, "You mean swordsman 10?" Which he pretty much says, "Yeah, I could become the great ninja 10." Which Naruto says he likes that. Now, this is where, of course, Naruto has the Executioner Blade, and he pretty much says, "I kind of don't want this. I already have my father's blade." Which this is where we're gonna say who would be a great use to that weapon, really. Shit. I mean, oh wait, no, Reptile has the living blade. Ermac. Yeah, Ermac will have the blade. Yeah, Reptile has the living blade that takes chakra. So yeah. Uh, and I guess you can say like I guess Sub Zero has electric one. Yeah, I think. But yeah. After that, they all went home and stuff. Haku, yeah, pretty much went with Zabuza. Because Zabuza took care of Haku, so Haku wants to take care of Zabuza. So yeah, they pretty much is alive in this. Now this is where they're all back and stuff, and the mission was a success. This is where Naruto is pretty much heading back at his clan thing to pretty much see. Well, yeah, this is where Naruto heads back to clan thing with the rest of everybody, and he begins to see certain people who's there. you could say people there. Now, this is where the people is like, kind of walking and stuff and saying, I heard this was like the ultimate clan where, clans from other ninjutsus can join in and people who has like Kinki Kinkais, which this is where Naruto says, yeah, what, you want to join? Which this is where this ninja basically says yeah and he wants to be a part of this ultimate clan. Now, who is this person? Well, it's really you could say hmm, who be a good who could like be a good person for this? Uh shit. Actually no one really says that. Well, actually no, Hiruzen grandson. Yeah. Basically says that he wants to join the Ultimate Clan and be a part of this thing, which this is where Naruto, like, this is where Hinata looks down and says she's sorry that she let him in, which Naruto says it's okay, and pretty much, oh, Kimuraru, which he pretty much, Naruto takes a knee, well, pretty much looks down and says, so you want to be a part of the Ultimate Clan? Do you have a special Kenkai? Are you Uchiha? What do you have? Which he pretty much says, I don't have nothing, but I can still, which Naruto says, how about you beat me? If you can beat one of us in a fight, then we will let you in the clan. Which Kimuraru runs away and says, I will get strong and prove you wrong and show you that I can be a part of the ultimate clan, you could say. Now, we're going to say um, the next. Actually, no, we're going to do a side thing. Side line, you could say, before we do the tuning exams. Because why not? To know what's happening right now in Naruto. Now, Reptile, she pretty much is, on her, pretty much, going around the village and stuff with the Kisahama, or you could say that live shark blade, pretty much walking around, looking around and stuff. Which this is where she sees a girl basically doing her techniques and stuff, or you could say, hmm, hmm. Actually, no. This is where she hears someone like training extra hard, and what she sees is Neji Hyuga. Now, of course, this is where Neji Hyuga. Well, this is where Reptile. She's in camouflage and she's seeing Neji Hyuga train and fight. Basically, not really training, but well, you could say he's tiny bit of training because why not? And he's pretty much looking. He's pretty much doing a tiny bit of training. He's like saying, now this is where of course Reptile she on camouflage and says, "Well, Neji, look like you got a little bit stronger." Which this is not her first time actually spying on Neji. Now this is where Neji says, "Who are you?" Which she jumps down, having the blade on her back, saying, "My name is Reptile. Nice to meet you." Which Neji pretty much says, "Oh, nice to meet you." Well, he doesn't say "nice to meet you." He just basically says Neji Hyuga. Now this is where Reptile makes a taunt and says, "Huh, what you doing there is pretty light practice, but you look kind of useless. You kind of look kind of weak. I saw your sister; she was a little bit stronger than you." Which Neji gets angry and says, "Huh, you want to test that out?" Which he gets in the fighting stance, which she pretty much pulls out, pretty much says, I don't even need my blade to beat you. I'm going to defeat you by myself. Now, this is where the fight commences with Neji and Reptile. And Reptile pretty much whoops Neji ass. Because if Neji can, somehow cancel out chakra from Reptile, all she can do is just go. All she needs to do is just go as invisible and just use her, like, slide and stuff to also blind him and stuff. And she doesn't need chakra to whoop his ass. She can go invisible and whoop his ass. But anyways, Neji pretty much down on his ass, pretty much, injured, which she's pretty much saying, told you I can beat you, which this is where Neji says, what do you want? You just didn't come here to whoop my ass, did you? Which this is where she says, well, I'm kind of bored. Do you mind taking me out on the town and show me around? Kind of like a date, which this is where Neji, he blushes a little bit because Reptile, she's looking, hot, not like a hot, fresh out of lizard, out of the, you could say stuff, but she's looking banging. But pretty much, he says yeah, and they go on that kind of late date, and they pretty much have a good time. Now for Sub Zero, like I said, her goal really is to bring back the Ice Clan or that, and she's basically training people who has potential Ice Kinky Kinkais, which she kind of made some clones out and kind of asked Perusian with permission, which they all asked permission for what they wanted to do, which Perusian gave him permission because, like I said, he wants to be there for them now. And yeah, Sub Zero basically found people potential who has like an Ice Kinky Kinkai or some ice element or something they can use as ice. Now they only find a couple ice people with Kinky Kinkais, not like people who has the same power as you could say Sub Zero, but you could say one of them, and we're gonna say it's the girl from Mortal Kombat, not as the same but a little bit different. But her name is gonna be named as Frost, Mrs. Frost, you could say. Now, female Sub Zero, she is training those who has Ice King Kinkai, teaching them what they can possibly do and stuff. Now, the only person who can actually achieve some of the stuff that Sub Zero can do is Mrs. Frost, you could say, or Frost, you could say. Now, Rain, hers is a little bit different as she went back into the uh, well, yeah, she went back. She went to the hidden clown. Well, a village. She found a village that was really not owned by anyone, and she pretty much named it as hers, and basically became the Raikage there, or you could say, yeah, a Raikage there. And it's called the. Actually, no. She went to the Hidden Rain village, and she pretty much because she can teleport back and forth wherever place has water, and she pretty much made that place of her own. So she's the Raikage there, the Hidden Rain. She pretty much owned that shit. Which Pain is not liking it because Pain he doesn't own the Hidden Rain village, but he you could say do operations there. If I can say, no, he doesn't really operate at the Hidden Rain village. He's not even there. We're just gonna say for plot, and yeah, Rain took over that place to become a Raikage. Now, Smoke, hers is really not anything different. She just, is with Sub Zero helping out. And they found a couple persons with the same, Kinkai as Smoke, or you could say has the same abilities as Smoke. And Smoke trained them, you could say, to protect, the Ice Clan. Ice Clan, you could say. Scorpion, hers is regularly the same. Find people with potential who has like fire Kinkai or lava Kinkai or scorch or anything that's with fire, and she begins to teach wherever she can. And she has all properties, including like the fire, like lava style and stuff. So yeah, you could say. Now, new sidebot, hers is a little bit secret as she is kind of on the town grabbing like certain stuff. But what she's trying to do is make a portal to the Dark Realm, you could say. After she pretty much read a tablet that requires Hyuga and Uchiha eyes, like a mixture. And it's a tablet that can open up a portal to a Dark Realm to get power, which she is, trying to become powerful for her family. That's her goal. Naruto's, like I said, Hokage, not really nothing much. The Hokage or something else. But other than that, yeah, this is where I guess we can have a scene with pretty much female Scorpion and pretty much Shikamaru. Female Scorpion and Shikamaru. No. Yeah, Scorpion. I guess you could say Scorpion, female Scorpion with pretty much Kiba. We're gonna have a scene with them, so I pretty much can tell the scene because, like I said, it's gonna about to be an hour long, and I don't want to like. I guess yeah, we're gonna have these scenes, and then we're just gonna go up to the tuning exams part, and then that's possibly it. But yeah, pretty much this is where I guess we go with a scene with Kiba and basically female Scorpion. Yeah, yeah, sorry. After the whole training with potentials, potentially ninjas who has the same
thing that Scorpion has. She's pretty much is this. She's basically just is not doing any. Well, she's basically just like walking around the whole Leaf Village and trying to see some ingredients to make some food for the family until she sees how can I say until she sees Kiba. Now Kiba is pretty much training with Akamaru. Well, not training. Pretty much is about to start a fight with someone until she comes in and trying to see what's the situation with the store owner, saying that they don't allow pets to get like to come in, which pretty much she pretty much pays for the damage of what happened and pretty much walks with Kiba. Now Kiba is pretty much getting to know Scorpion and stuff, and she's basically saying that she is right now training a clan to basically kind of protect the leaf, protect the leaf, and also be just be there. Now, of course, this is where I gotta say this is where yeah, Kiba is understanding and saying that he wants to become Hokage so everybody can have a dog. Has to have a dog and understand that their clan is strong. Which this is where she makes a laugh at that. Says him as a Hokage, good luck with that. But she think he might have the chance to become Hokage one day, or maybe not. He would still become a strong person, which Kiba's laughing and blushing about it, and they enjoy their time. Now I'll say for like Rain, I would say Rain and Tenten. This is where they have their talk. You could say. Well, we're gonna say the this is all in the middle before we're at the next part of the tuning exam. This is on their free days. We're gonna start with Rain. Well, have Rain. Rain, she's not doing anything but just going at the hidden Rain village and then going back after doing meetings and stuff. This is where she meets Tintin after she teleported at a certain location after she's exhausted of doing teleportation. It doesn't take a lot of her, but we're gonna say today was really that much. Now she pretty much appears tired and stuff, and pretty much this is where Tintin freaks out after seeing her just pop out of nowhere, out of a whole puddle, you could say. Now this is where she's a little bit tired, and she introduced herself to Tintin, and Tintin introduced herself too, which this is where Rain she gets oppressed and begins to talk to her and stuff and get to know her a little bit more. Now this is where you could say Rain and Tintin kind of was hitting it off and they went out on a date. Now this is where Tintin explained that each different weapons are and she wants to be like this person, which Rain thinks that it's a brilliant idea. But this is where Rain asks Tintin to join the Rain Village that she basically owns, which Tintin only agrees upon if she can open up shop at the Rain and also at the Leaf, which she agrees, and they basically make a deal and they kind of a little bit together, you could say. But this is where we're going to I guess get to the rest. Now Smoke, yeah, Smoke basically is just training claims and stuff. I guess this is where she meets Sisui. And I know what y'all thinking. Wait, ain't Sisui a little bit too old for Smoke because they're in the age of 10 right now? Calm down. It's a open a little bit growing up relationship, tiny bit. This is where Smoke meets Sisui after she's training by herself using the smoke. This is where Sisui is amazed at her work and sees that she's a Uchiha after seeing her Sharingan, smoking eye Sharingan. It looks as the thing, but pretty much this is where Sisui is basically saying Made train together, which she agrees upon. Now they're training and stuff. Sisui, basically doing his moves and stuff and fighting her, which we're gonna say Smoke, she wins that fight with Sisui, which Sisui is impressed. Now, this is where Smoke says that's a great move, what she was doing with teleportation, which Sisui is saying, oh yeah, this is my, teleportation style, which she pretty much says you could say how can I say this? You could say, Shisui is saying, yeah, that's his teleportation, and she's understanding, and he basically says he can teach her sometime, which she blushes and says, yeah, sure. Which, they create a little bit bond right there. A little bit bond right there, so it's gonna be Shisui and Smoke, female Smoke. Now Ermac, I gotta say this. Ermac, he really how can I say this? Not he. Ermac is a he? Yeah, Ermac is a he. Ermac, Terminal, Chameleon, and Newt Sidebot. Yeah, those four. Yeah, Ermac, his is a little bit different. He's not really doing anything with anyone as well. He talks to the dead. You could say he can see ghosts and stuff and spirits. This is where he's talking, well, meditating, but he also is talking to Minato and Kushina. Now, Kushina is pretty much talking to Ermac and saying that, like, you're like, oh my god, son, which Ermac is saying, son, who are y'all? Which this is where Minato is saying that, they're basically, how can I say, basically, is their son, which this is where Ermac is saying, I'm not their son. Well, if they say I am their son. So this is where Ermac is basically getting, a lot of information and a lot of beans are getting spilt. This is where Minato says that, do you have my weapon, son? Which Ermac is saying, what weapon? Which this is where he says, my flying Raijin. Which this is where Ermac realized that Naruto, or you could say AK Chameleon, has the flying Raijin. He says, I think we're all clones. And he's the original one, which he's getting conclusions about. Which he says, I gotta go find him. Find Naruto. Now, Terminal, you could say going out with Sakura, creating a good bond, you could say. You could say creating a good bond. Now, um, sorry about that, guys. This is why it's an hour-long video, because it will be a lot of pausing and stuff. Like, there's so much in my brain right now, but pretty much, yeah. After, yeah, Ermac after find that Terminal, just going out with Sakura. Yeah, going out with Sakura. Actually, no, because I want Sardar to still be alive. But Terminal, we're gonna say he's a player, and he talks to Curran, and they pretty much create, a good relationship bond with each other. Curran, you could say, um, yeah, you could say they're kind of forming a relationship bond together and being together. Um, Now, like I said, Scorpion's already making a relationship with Tenzin. No, with Kiba. Now Noob Saibot, him. Um, yeah, like I said before, basically trying to op- do the dimension to get stronger for his family. Naruto now. Naruto not really doing anything but training Hinata to basically be a strong Kanoshi, and basically follow her dream, whatever dream she wanted to have, and that dream was basically just to be strong and be next to Naruto, or protect the one that she loves, which is Naruto. Now, after all that, now we're gonna get to the tuning exams art. So this is where Kakashi asked them if they want to do the shooting exam to become a Jonin much earlier, which they all agree. Now, of course, Kakashi gives them the test, and all of them passes with ease. None of them is going to have a hard time about it. And they start to get going. Now, as they're getting going, this is where Rock Lee challenges um, Sasuke Uchiha. Now, of course, Sasuke, denies it and, doesn't want to fight. Well, he looks at Rock Lee, and Rock Lee says you can use whatever, Genjutsu or, Sharingan or whatever, or use that Sharingan. He basically said like this: you can use that Sharingan, you can use, whatever you want. That won't do nothing for you. I'm going to fold you, and I will duck slam you. Which, as it happened in canon, Sasuke his ass beat. This is where Naruto joins in and, wants to fight Rock Lee. And Naruto, reluctantly, uh, Rock Lee agrees. Now, Rock Lee is, trying to blitz Naruto, which Naruto's dodging the attacks and stuff. And this is where Naruto does the inevitable,
well, goes invisible. Which this is where Rock Lee is saying, "Huh, just for you disappearing won't do anything. Hiya!" And he basically does a punch right at Naruto's stomach, which Naruto goes back on invisible. He's like saying, "Oh, huh, look like you can see me while I'm invisible." Which Rock Lee, he's just built different, and he begins to try to charge at Naruto. Naruto pretty much do the same move because Naruto can basically copy you on anybody, techniques or combat fighting styles and all that. And he begins to have the upper hand on Rock Lee. This is where he grabs Rock Lee while they're in the air. He does the primary lowest duck slam like he did to Sasuke. Of course, Rock Lee gets back up, and now he's fired up and ready to get around too. This is where Mike Guy stops Rock Lee and basically tells him not to do that and stuff, not to go into inner gates and stuff and fight with youth. Which Naruto says he's sorry, it's his fault for basically doing that. Which my guy says it's okay. They both said sorry, and they make good hands. And Naruto gives him a handshake and says, "Hope we get to fight in later on together. I mean, fight against each other." Which Rocky says, hope the same thing. Now this is where we get to the test, and they pass with ease. Now we're gonna go with the Force of Death arc. Now everything happens the same, and they start going. Everything will happen as the same. But pretty much Reptile already got 2 scrolls much earlier, and they're just going. Now, this is where Naruto, we're just gonna say for plot. Well, no, we're gonna say this is where Ermac. Yeah, Ermac. He says he no, Ermac wouldn't need to use the bathroom. We're gonna say Cybot. Actually, no, we're gonna say Naruto. Naruto, he needs to use the bathroom, which they basically say, "Chameleon, really?" Which this is where Naruto says, "What? I gotta go." Now, this is where he's going to use the bathroom and stuff, and this is where I'm gonna say the attack happens. Well, you could say the snake attack happens. Of course, this is where Naruto gets eaten up by the snake, but before the snake can swallow him down or anything, this is where Naruto uses Rain's technique or Scorpion. Well, Rain techniques then pretty much uses the water to slice the snake head open and pretty much jumps out and says, "Huh, this can't be good." And he begins to run back to his team. Now, this is where, of course, Naruto, the fake Naruto, comes out, and Sasuke is about to ask a question until Reptile already knows that it's not Naruto because the scent is different. And this is where Reptile starts to smell, and she says, "I smell a snake." And she charged forward and slicing, pretty much about to trying to slice down on Naruto until Sasuke yells out, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Until this is where Naruto jumps back and says, "So this is not, I'm not Naruto," which this is where Reptile says, "Of course, I can sense all different snits and bloods, and yours is a nasty blood." You snake. Which this is where Orochimaru shows his true identity. Now, of course, this is where Orochimaru, activate his fear thing or that bloodlust thing, which Sakura and Sasuke gets affected by it, but no one else gets affected by it. This is where Smoke, disappears, goes invisible, uses the smoke thing as a distraction, or he basically does the opposite same jutsu and basically forms smoke around everywhere. Now, Orochimaru can't say he's like, "Oh, what is this?" Which this is where they all gank up on him, kind of like the Pain Syndicate. Now, who goes first? Pretty much Reptile. She appears, pretty much slicing Orochimaru's chest, pretty much causing a deep wound, but takes half of his chakra, you could say. Sub Zero goes for a freeze, freezes him, which Rain comes in, comes back, comes back with the paper explosion, pretty much smacking Orochimaru off the tree and causing an explosion, blowing up his back. Half his back is burnt and damaged. Which this is where Smoke reappears again, jump forward and stabs Orochimaru. Or you could say do a slice, which everything goes black, and Smoke hoses the string and says, "And you're trapped." Which this is where Orochimaru's tied up by the string. He's like, this is where he realized he's like, "Oh shit, I kind of underestimate them." Now, of course, this is where Ermac comes in, and we're gonna say this is a combo technique, which this is where Terminal creates like two like heavy earth boulders and shoots it at pretty much like kicks them up and kicks them at Orochimaru, which this is where
Ermac uses the soul and makes it extra faster, kind of like a meteor, and hit Orochimaru into a bunch of trees. This is where of course Scorpion comes in and he does the fire symbol and shoots a master fireball at Orochimaru. And new Cybot pretty much creates other shadows of himself and pretty much shoots the soul specter to pretty much make the flames hard to put out or put out. It just makes him bigger. And this is where Naruto jumps in and he says, "You can't forget about me." And he pretty much like throw like throws each kunai or the flying right Raijin mark kunai everywhere at each different parts, and he pretty much creates clones, which all the clones teleport at the mark that he left them at, where he left them at, and he pretty much does the hand style. He says, "Water style, fire style, lightning style, earth style," and he basically does the dragon thing. Or yeah, you could say the dragon thing, and pretty much says jutsu, and it just hits Orochimaru. Now they think they pretty much killed Orochimaru because after whooping his ass up with the extra combos and all that shit, they think he's dead. Now this is where they're about to go until Orochimaru does the snake thing and bites Sasuke in the neck because what the hell for plot, and he pretty much yeah bites Sasuke in the neck, and they pretty much is getting out of here. Well, pretty much getting out. Like he pretty much shed his skin and get the hell out of here, which they're about to chase after him. This is where Naruto says now's not the time to worry about him. We get him later. Right now we have to go and get well, you could say go and get get Sasuke some help. Which is where Reptile says, which she says, all right, and they pretty much get out of there. Now, Naruto's pretty much, healing Sasuke up, making sure he's all right, pretty much, trying to, see what's up with the curse mark and stuff, and trying to study it. Which this is where they make it in second. Yeah, we're gonna say in second, not in third or anything, but in second. And they pretty much, go in there. Now, everything happens the same, except for Reptile, and it's gonna be a little bit like a 2v2. So it's gonna be two people versus two other people because of the team 7. So yeah, some of the teams are gonna be going against each other, Rain and Ermac. So it's not like a 2v2, but it's like a 1v1 too. Everybody going against each other. So like Reptile versus Sub Zero won that fight. Yeah, Sub Zero will win that fight. Rain versus Smoke will win that fight. Well, no, Rain will win that fight. Ermac versus Terminal lose. Ermac wins. I'm just gonna say, if y'all don't like these fights, how they go, then put them down in the comments. Scorpion versus Noob Saibot. Scorpion wins, and Chameleon versus I guess Kiba, and that goes the same. Now, after that, pretty much this is where everything happens the same, and Neji's trying to go for the kill for Hinata until Reptile pretty much comes in and stops Neji and saying what the hell is wrong with him. Why he's trying to kill his sister, which this is where Neji, gets pissed off. Reptile gets a little bit upset with him, but she knows she's gonna get him back. She's gonna get him back for what he was trying to do. Now this is where we get to the 2 months time skip. Training arc. I'm guessing, if I'm correct. Pretty much Naruto. He's about to go train with his team or the 10 and the ninjas until Hiruzen says that someone wants to train him. And this is where Naruto says, "Who is it?" Which this is where Hiruzen says, "Oh, it's Jiraiya, one of the legendary Sonys, the 3 legendary Sonys." Which Naruto says, "Okay, I go train, but can I bring some people with me?" Which this is where Hiruzen says, "Of course." Which this is where he brings. This is where he brings. Rain, Saibot, Smoke, and everybody else will be doing their own thing with Kakashi or training and stuff. This is where Naruto is walking with Smoke and Rain,
and pretty much talking to each other and basically saying that they're going to train with one of the legendary Sonys, which they basically saying what they're going to learn from him, which they pretty much see him and they realize that he's a pervert, pinking at a girl's bathhouse. Now, of course, this is where Smoke says, "I don't know if I want to get training from him," and Rain is saying, "Yeah, me too. He's kind of," which Naruto says, "A pervert? Yeah, I know." Which this is where Naruto says, "But he's our pervy master." Now this is where, of course, Naruto says, Jiraiya Sensei, is that you?" Which Jiraiya says, "Ah, so you must be Naruto, and who are these ladies?" Which they're pretty much saying, don't get the wrong idea, pervert. We're here to train with Naruto to learn some techniques too." Which Jiraiya says, "Pervert." Now this is pretty much part one and two. Yeah, part one and two of What If Naruto Was Chameleon. If y'all like, leave a like, comment it, do all that stuff. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.